It's Red Dingbat here, and we are back with another episode of SCP Reading. Today we are going to be doing SCP-61, and again, like yesterday, this one will probably be a short one because my voice is starting to go. So SCP-61, Auditory Mind Control. SCP-61, Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. The source code for SCP-61 is to be kept on a standard archival quality read-only data compact disc, or a CD-ROM. 4 copies of the CD-ROM with the source code are to be stored in separate maximum security inanimate object lockers, except for purposes of approved experimentation. SCP-61 is not to be loaded, compiled, or run. Research proposals for SCP-61 require written approval from the Site Command. Only 1 copy of the CD-ROM containing the source code for SCP-61 may be used at any time. The CD-ROM is to be returned to the storage immediately after having been used to load the source code for SCP-61 to a device. SCP-61 must never be loaded, compiled, or run on any device which is connected to the Internet, either directly or via another device. SCP-61 must never be loaded, compiled, or run on any device which is physically capable of wireless activity, regardless of whether that connectivity is in use. For purposes of approved experimentation, SCP-61 may be loaded, compiled, and run on a LAN constituting of no more than 3 devices plus peripherals. No devices are to be disconnected from the LAN during experimentation. Following the conclusion of experiments, all devices within this LAN are to be immediately reformatted. Audio output peripherals for this LAN are to be connected within an observation chamber surrounding with noise-cancelling vacuum insulation. In the event of a perimeter breach by hostiles during an SCP-61 experimentation, all devices within the LAN are to be immediately destroyed. Description: SCP-61 is an acoustic computer program being developed by SCP researchers with the intent of producing successful countermeasures to similar programming being developed by governments and individuals around the world. Inspired by research on data expunged, SCP Command saw both the potential and harm in the ability to control the brain functions of other human beings. Laymen understood that music can elicit certain emotions and memories, or various sounds can elicit fear and excitement by simply being heard. Governments around the world have been attempting to expand on that premise for decades. SCP research is the first to elicit responses on higher mental activities. Parts of the brain affected by 61 differ from those stimulated by data expunged or by subliminal messaging. Instead of acting on parts of the brain that are thought to be in control of the subconscious, acoustic frequencies produced by 61 intercept conscious thoughts as they are produced and replace them. Instead of a suggestion, the human hearing center bisects the conscious thinking mind of the frontal lobe and the motor control cortexes of the homunculus of the brain. A baseline rhythm convinces the rest of the brain that the conscious mind is asleep and effectively stops conscious thought from continuing to the rest of the brain. In return, the frontal lobe experiences a pause that resembles the psychological effects of anesthesia. Acoustic codes developed by SCP-61 are interpreted by motor centers of the brain as conscious instructions, and the subject typically acts accordingly. See Addendum 01. Subjects will normally have a blank facial expression while under the influence of SCP-61. They are not responsive to attempts at conversation and express no desires such as hunger or interest in sexual advances, although all commands are followed without question. The effects of the auditory control cease once they are no longer able to hear the program. Most test subjects report being unable to remember the actions they performed while under control, but a few have experienced the effect of watching helplessly as their body acted against their will. The intent of such research is to discover ways to counteract the effects of auditory mind control. However, only two methods of countermeasures have proven successful as of yet. One, the subject's hearing is impaired so that the individual can no longer hear the program, either by covering the ear or deafening the subject. Two, the program itself sends a coded instruction to the hearing center of the brain, permanently shutting it down. Although the ear continues to hear, there has been no progress in finding the proper code to reboot the hearing center of the brain. Despite its shortcomings, SCP-61 represents a promising development in the creation of counter-anomalous phenomenon. Further research is ongoing. Addendum 1. All subjects are placed under auditory control, issued a coded auditory command, and then monitored. Subject 4402F. Command: Sleep. Response: Subject curled up into a fetal position on the floor and her brain began emitting alpha waves associated with sleep. Her eyes remained wide open and the typical blank or empty expression associated with controlled subjects. But her eyes twitched rapidly in ways associated with REM sleep. Subject 4427 M. Command: Run on treadmill. Response: Subject mounted the treadmill and then proceeded to run. Subject did not turn on the treadmill, resulting in the subject impacting the control platform. Subject repeated this until the stop command was issued. Note: more detailed commands are advised for task-orientated commands. Subject 4427M. Command: Turn treadmill on. Run on treadmill. Response: Subject turned the treadmill to the maximum speed, mounted and attempted to run before being ejected off the conveyor belt. Subject repeatedly attempted to run on treadmill to a random speed and run on it with various outcomes. Note: more detailed commands are advised for task-orientated commands. Subject 4427M. Command: Turn treadmill to jogging speed. Jog on treadmill. Response: the subject successfully jogged on treadmill until stop command was issued, which then resulted in the subject being ejected off the conveyor belt. Note: subjects should be in a safe, neutral, and natural position before stop commands are issued. So, that was SCP-61. Essentially, the Foundation has found a way to control people's minds, but they become stupid when this happens. So, anyway, that was SCP-61. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you like this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because why not? It's free. And anyway, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Until then, bye!